What am I supposed to do? Where is my place in life? What's your purpose? What is any of our purposes? Porpoises? I think I like that one better. This episode is about purpose, and it's gonna be brought to you by pretty much nothing, because there's actually not a real list that I have that defines the purpose of all humanity or any living thing. I guess maybe we'll start there. So, we're alive, and we're all here on this planet, and we're doing what we do. I think mostly just making things up as we go to survive. That's what any organism does. Tries to make the best of the system it's given and get ahead and reproduce and make sure that their offspring will continue to be effective in the future, maybe. But sometimes that can be hard to predict, especially now in this day and age. I think society is, well, human society anyway. I can't speak for like ants or lions. I think lions have kind of had it down for a long time. They've figured out their whole hierarchy and how they're supposed to be getting along. Lions be doing lion things, just lying around. God damn it. So purpose, human purpose. Let's narrow that down. What is the purpose of people, everybody, collectively? Okay, no, never mind, not collectively. Let's just go to individual purpose. Let's look at me. What is my purpose? That's a really tough question. It's loaded. I've been asked before, like, hey, what are you doing with your life? What's your plan? I think that's one of my top 5 least favorite words in the human English. Plan's a word in other languages, I guess, maybe, right? That's a Spanish dessert. But really what I'm talking about is, like, planning ahead. It's not something I've ever been good at, and I just don't feel comfortable, I guess, with. I'm more of an improviser. I just do what at the time seems right, and the consequences of that thing that I do, I live with later, and then I react to those, and it just kind of snowballs on itself, and here I am. I guess my purpose is to be purposeless. I mean, only so many people can make the world go forward in significant ways. Everybody else is just kind of helping them along, you know? People like, who's a big innovator these days? The guy who does flex tape. He has to get his groceries from the grocery store, and there gotta be people there that run the grocery store, but the grocery store can't run itself, you know? It's gotta have groceries, so you gotta rely on all the farmers and ranchers and all that who produce the stuff that goes to the grocery store, but in between there's got to be somebody who processes all that food. So yeah, what I'm saying is there's a lot of things that everybody does that keep the world ticking. Not everybody can be what we consider to be important, and I think importance is kind of, at least in our minds, being significant in the public eye. Why is that so important to people to be noticed or recognized? I think before in one of my videos that I said people, humanity, humans, and really I guess any sort of monkey that desires sex and dominance and all that sort of thing, to be approved of in the public eye for a social creature, that's like priority number 1. Because when you get exposure in that way and you look good, you can bet your bottom dollar your genes are probably going on to a good place. I say probably because pretty much like everything, there's no guarantee in life. Another reason I don't like planning. And I also don't like the word guarantee, because tomorrow the sun could explode. I mean, it probably won't, but there's, that tiny chance that something happens that makes the sun explode, and then what do? You can't plan for that. You just gotta react. How do you react to the sun exploding? How would I react to the sun exploding? I guess is a good question, because I can't hear you guys. You can say things at your computer all day. I won't know what you're talking about, because I am making this in the past. If the sun exploded, I would probably die almost immediately. I mean, it really depends on the kind of explosion we're talking about. If it's like kind of a little poof sort of thing, then I guess I would be, it would be hard to see, for one. I guess electricity would still kind of work, right? So you can get out your flashlight. We have a little time when the sun explodes. I mean, I think that we'd notice the sun exploding when the light from the sun exploding reached us. You get to the point where the sun has exploded and it's far too late. Like, you have like 8 minutes or something like that for the light from the sun to get to the earth. By the time that announcement comes out, like, NASA's like, oh, hey, look, the sun exploded. We better tell everybody. We have 8 minutes to make that statement. That's not going to happen. Everybody's going to find out as it happens. So what would I do if the sun exploded? I would go as fast as I can to the people I cared about. I would go as fast as possible to the nearest family I had and spend the last moments that society was barely glued together with them. and then I would probably die in some fashion. You know, hypothermia. I mean, once the sun's out, there's a whole mess of problems you gotta deal with. I mean, Earth, I guess, as a ball of rock would be fine. It would just be kind of flying through space aimlessly. The Earth kind of needs the sun for all the energy it provides, so, I mean, eventually, it would be a very painful way to go, I think. Some of humanity might survive. Not a lot, though. I would definitely not be in the surviving camp because, again, I'm not really important, I guess, is... Oh, hey, we circled back to that. How long was I on that tangent about the sun exploding? Let's say we can gauge the sun exploding, that we have a sun exploding scale of importance. Who survives when the sun explodes? That's how you know those people, those are the ones that are important. They're the ones that are going to make it on, pass on their genes. They're the true survivors. In a end-of-the-world class scenario, it's the ones who survive that are the fittest. That's biology for you. Adapting to change. Whoever can do that the best is the winner. So that is how I would gauge importance. Okay, so you might not make it if the sun explodes, but the cool thing is the sun's probably not going to explode. Other things could explode, and that also would test your importance and your ability to survive. But in any of those cases, people are limited by their opportunities and their circumstances and their just inherent genetic ability. It's true, we're all different. And to fool ourselves into thinking that one person can do a job just as good as another, despite, you know, where they came from and how they are, kind of silly. Everybody kind of has their own thing going on. I mean, none of us are really any more important than the other. We're all just bags of meat, atoms. Could go any minute. You should definitely just measure your worth based on what you think your worth should be. Maybe you don't think you're worth a lot, but I don't think anybody's really worth that much more. I mean, in a sense that we've decided how much people are worth, sure. Nobody's worthless. Everybody has something that they're meant to do, and it's very rare that they actually find out what that is and then they do it. Maybe we shouldn't chase after a higher purpose at all. Maybe it's better to just think small and focus on yourself as a person and just do what makes you happy, not really caring if you have an impact on the world or not. You can just find yourself a hobby, whether it's singing, dancing, making origami sculptures of squirrels. I don't know, it could be anything. But as long as it brings you joy and you just try to get really, really good at it, who knows? Maybe you'll spread some meaning to someone somewhere at some point, someday. And I think that's really all that matters. Just keep it small. Don't expect much. That's usually how I go about it, and I haven't been that disappointed yet. I guess speaking from experience, being someone who is aimless with no goal isn't such a bad thing. I mean, I'm not dead. That's the metric for not important, is if you are alive or not. And not definitely makes you pretty much purposeless and kind of irrelevant in a way. So, hey, if you're not dead, you're still doing fine. I think that's we'll wrap the video up on that one. Just don't be dead. That's my advice, and you will do just fine. 2 minutes I talked about the sun exploding in a video about importance. How am I gonna even put this all together?